Hello, dear friends. Welcome back. In this video, we continue from where we left off. If you haven't watched the previous episode, I recommend starting with that before this video. I'm leaving the link here. After discussing inflation, foreign trade, export figures, and my views on these in the previous episode, we said we would continue with even more heated topics in this video. We will deeply examine industry-leading topics such as minimum wage debates, the perspectives of industrialists on this issue, and industry and retail turnover indices, specifically in the ready-to-wear, clothing, and textile sectors. First, let's make a brief reminder. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, like, and share. If you're ready, let's continue from where we left off. So let's get started. Another important topic is the reduction of interest rates in Turkey and its potential effects on the industrial sector. Many businesses operating in the industrial sector have been facing rising costs and financial difficulties for a long time. Could the decrease in interest rates be a solution to alleviate these challenges? Or will it put more pressure on the sector? Instead of benefiting the industry, Mustafa Gültepe, the president of the Turkish Exporters Assembly, made the following statements regarding interest rate cuts at the beginning of the month. Delaying interest rate cuts in order to control inflation undermines the resilience of industrialists. Mustafa Gültepe says that when the cut comes, there may no longer be any industrialists or industry left to work. As we mentioned in our previous news, after months, the Central Bank of the Republic of Turkey keeps the interest rate above the announced inflation. However, we have all unfortunately experienced, are experiencing, and will continue to experience the reasons for the interest rates, which I referred to as the valley of death, being much lower than the real inflation or the announced inflation over the past 2 years. I spoke like a politician, didn't I? All rational economists have been saying that it should be this way. Since the inflation rate did not come in the desired monthly rate and was higher than expected this month, and because it was stated that interest rate cuts could be further delayed, Mustafa Gültepe made this statement. However, according to experts, balancing low interest rates with inflation and ensuring sustainable financial growth is of great importance. Otherwise, sustainability in industrial production may not be achieved, and long-term economic development could become more difficult. I'm also curious about your opinions on this matter. Please share your views with us regarding the effects of interest rate cuts on industry or the effects of not lowering interest rates on industry. So why did these discussions arise? Let's get to why. The debates about what the minimum wage will be in the new year have started and are ongoing. It even seems like it will flare up in the upcoming period. Industrialists have thrown out figures like 25% as if speaking with one voice. So, is the discussion here about whether the minimum wage is determined based on the past or the future? Both have their pros and cons, but if there were proper economic management and policy, at least if it were transparent, I don't think anyone would object to its determination based on the future or goals. However, the economic management ignores the fact that the public and low-income citizens are being crushed during times when everything is going well. When they claim everything is going well, saying that everything will be better in the next period, that the worst is behind us in 3 to 5 months. Since they have used their statements repeatedly, no one believes in future goals anymore. And unfortunately, I don't know if it's true, but workers are not falling into this trap. However, industrialists also say that due to the inflation moving independently from the exchange rates in this distorted environment, the minimum wage increase should be indexed to the exchange rate, or determined according to these goals. Now, who is right and who is wrong seems to be a topic that will deepen in the coming days. It is now difficult to distinguish the right from the wrong, but it is clear that any discussions await us. Well, while the minimum wage debates are like this, another detail caught my attention, and I would like to share it with you. Industrialists continue to show a stick under the cloak and have even raised the tone to a higher level. What is it? News is emerging that exporters are starting to import labor. As you know, with these prices, people have become unable to make a living in their own countries. Or with statements like, "I would rather not work at this price," they have started to refrain from working and stay at home, not participating in the workforce. Especially younger groups and young retirees who distanced themselves from workforce in recent period with the EYT. At the workshop of the Turkish Exporters Assembly delegates, some union presidents suggested, let's start importing labor from different countries. According to the statements, one of the presidents who raised the issue at the workshop mentioned that, due to not being able to find employees in this environment, they brought 10 to 15 people from Uzbekistan at this price and even provided accommodation for them to start working. Those making these statements are likely from labor-intensive sectors, such as ready-to-wear and the clothing industry. It seems that discussions about the minimum wage will flare up much more in the coming days, from sectors that earn their profits through labor to employees struggling to make ends meet. Let's continue our bulletin with sales volume indices. The retail sales volume index showed an annual increase of 15.9%. So we see that more products have been sold compared to the previous year. The recovery process has been ongoing since July, and there was a monthly increase of 2.3% in retail trade. So what do we get if we compare the annual change of all retail with the annual change in textiles, clothing, and footwear? Let's take a look at that now. Here is the table in front of you. In the textiles, clothing, and footwear sector, which appears in orange, the annual change rate is at 3.1%. This rate lags behind the increase in the overall retail sector. By the way, the data is completely obtained from my research and the figures I prepared. If you request, you can please contact me through my social media accounts or my email address. I would be happy to share with you. When we look at the reflection of this increase in sales volume on turnover, the turnover indices increased by 5.5% month-on-month in September, reaching 47% annually. The industrial turnover index, however, remained significantly below the overall turnover increase, at 33.2%. Although the industrial turnover index showed an increase of 5.8% on a monthly basis, it is below the average of other sectors annually. So, after seeing this increase in the industrial turnover index, let's also look at the changes in the annual turnover indices of the textile industry and the ready-to-wear industry. As you can see in orange, the textile industry remains below the average on an annual basis, while the ready-to-wear industry has managed to exceed the average in the last 3 months. In addition, on the retail side, while the turnover index increased by 50.7% in September, the textile, ready-to-wear, and footwear sectors stood out with a 59% increase in the retail index. So, as we mentioned earlier, while the sales volume in ready-to-wear and textiles increased by 3.1%, if the turnover increased by 59%, what do you think the annual price increase, that is, inflation, has been? Here's a problem for you. Do the announced figures contradict each other? The decision is yours. Speaking of contradictions, let's take a look at the confidence side as well. The Economic Confidence Index showed a slight increase to 98 points in October compared to the previous month. However, remaining below 100 points also indicates that confidence in the economic recovery has not yet been established. While recoveries in consumer confidence and real sector confidence indices are observed, the retail trade sector's confidence index was recorded at 110.7 points, with a very small change compared to the previous month. In this week's content, which I published in 2 videos, we examined sector-leading topics such as inflation, foreign trade, minimum wage, and turnover indices together. Please share your thoughts and comments in the section below the video. I would be happy to send the graphs and data related to the sector to those who request them. Let me remind you again, please do not forget to subscribe to our channel, share the videos, and hit the like button to support our content. See you in the next bulletin. Stay with love and knowledge. Goodbye.